Welcome to Two Guys, Three Crowns, the podcast that talks about what it's really like to live in Stockholm, Sweden. I'm Sean, and with my fellow American Rodney, we break down the good, the bad, and the just plain weird. It's quite the journey, so join us for the ride.
Sean, you know how we typically start these things with a little song?
We do. Sweet Emotion, or just two of us.
Exactly. Typically some kind of a groove. But actually, I'm going to start today's episode a little different. A little different. Yeah, we have somebody here. I'm gonna see if he's ready for this one. Should I go for it? I'll go for it.
Do it.
Andra sidan, är ni klara?
Wow, cool. Jajamensan fattas bara.
Yeah,
Wow.
There he is.
That was absolute pressure, to be honest. I don't know about you two, but I get freaked out with those little moments in Swedish life like that, where I was like, he hasn't told me what he said. This is not rehearsed. What the hell is he going to say? You know?
Hey, we figured to get that spontaneity going, just right off the bat. Well, we'll get him. Hey, I'm just glad you answered, Al.
Yeah, it would have been awkward if just kind of logged out.
I was waiting for him to boo.
Boo, right.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have Mr. Al Pitcher, who's joining us today for the podcast, and we are honored and thrilled, and it's fantastic to have him here. I don't know how much better a Sunday gets. We got Al Pitcher and we got sunshine.
Absolutely.
We have sunshine. We got vitamin D rolling through big time.
That's not me. That's the sun. Vitamin D. I don't provide.
I would just hey Al. I would just take credit for it. Just roll with it. Just say like Al brings the sunshine.
But what I do like about you guys is you really have that enthusiasm, and I wonder if that should be in this country. I just love that you're like, it's an honor, it's a pleasure. I'm going to start this up. Here we go. It's Americans, or you're just wonderful. Honestly, it's just, for me, I'm just kind of tired of life. But you are the boost we need. I think it's
well. I'm just going to take a minute to point out. You see that Sean is sitting in a closet, and my wife has me underneath the stairs. So that's we're trying to keep our enthusiasm in check.
We're well contained.
Proper Harry Potter shit. I like it.
Yeah. Now, so tell us briefly. I mean, I would say that 99.9% of the people out there know your story, have heard your story, have taken a little bit of part of your story and journey here. But give us like a quick one. How did Al Pitcher end up here in Stockholm?
Good question. I born in England, went to New Zealand when I was 7 with my family. I didn't catch the wrong bus. And then just sort of, I always had this feeling that I was going to come back to England at some stage. I don't know if you guys have that calling to go back to the homeland. And then I met my wife there, and then we just started coming over here, and because I'm from a place in New Zealand which is just like, it's kind of one road, 2 cars or a traffic jam kind of stuff. Right. Plenty of sheep,
Sure.
So going to London it blew my mind, because I was proper Crocodile Dundee with it, kind of walking around going, yeah, how are you? And they just, they'll walk over your dead body there,
Right.
So
very true.
And then we just used to pop over here, and I don't know, I just liked the slowness of it all. I know it's a big city. I know it's a beautiful city, but it still feels like things just take, like summer blows my mind when it does actually turn up. Everything just shuts. And that took me a few years to kind of get with that,
Right.
Like,
It's
if
like
you want to get
West
your hair
Coast
cut.
town with the tumbleweeds in summer.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was like, I really struggled with that, but I've slowly got used to these damn people.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I can relate to the experience. Having lived in London, I made it a year myself,
Wow.
but
Well done, you.
till we got
Yeah.
relocated up here. But yeah, same kind of thing. It was like it's weird because it's a quote unquote European capital, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's so like the comparison is so stark compared to London.
Yeah. And even I've got relatives in like Northern England, and they used to come down and, you know, they'd be pushing like a pram, and people wouldn't help lift it, you know, down
Yeah.
steps, or, you know, they're basically putting their hands in the kid's face and just pushing them out the way. You know,
Right.
it's a real, it's dog eat dog. It's, you know, and I'm very happy that we got out, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I came here with no plan as well, which I don't know if you guys had a plan when you came here, but it just sort of bounced and fell into place, you know, which is great, I suppose.
Yeah, we actually sat and we had talked about it. My wife Lena was an au pair in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we met through a Scandinavian social club, and we had talked about it. Oh, we should move to Sweden. Oh, we should move to Sweden. You know, and then 10 years later, you know, we're over there. And then when we start looking at the kids, getting the kids into school, and I was like, there's got to be something else. There has got to be something else.
Yeah.
And we were here with our daughter to christen our daughter, and we took a brief walk on the beach, and we were like, look, let's just decide right now. If we're going to make the move, then we'll make the move. And we decided, and 6 months later, we were here.
Yeah.
Absolutely no plan. I mean, we sold stuff, and it was exciting, and it was like, and then we were here, and I was in my in-laws, like in one of their little hobby rooms. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the beginning of good things.
Well, the in-laws is a freaky experience, isn't it? The ones that, I don't know about you, but the ones that we were with, they were hers. We weren't just allocated to old people, but they sort of went, there were no English kind of, you know.
Yeah.
So, which should have, you know, kicked me up the backside to learn the language, but it didn't so well. But yeah, you know, they were proper, like, you know, what is this? You know, I think he could recite My Fair Lady. So we would have,
that was about the extent of it.
we would have evenings of him, you know, the medicine go down. I'm thinking, like, oh God, you know? Yeah,
right.
But yeah, I do. I struggle sometimes with it here. It feels very. It's a very solo. I know you're in a kind of where you're in a relationship, and but it is difficult to find friends. It is difficult to. I just think it's a real mission on your own. You know.
Oh yeah,
very true.
You know, you just sort of head down, and you see people every day walk past at the same place every day, and there's no eyebrows go up. There's no.
You
know.
Yeah. I told Sean, I'm convinced that you're allocated. You only have a certain amount of friends that you're allowed to have, like 10. And you have to wait until something happens, like if there's an opening someplace and you get your application in.
Yeah.
You know, between trying to find an apartment in Stockholm and find a friend, I don't know which line to get in.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough toss-up.
Yeah. It was, we tried to make friends with some of the parents in my son Adrian's class when we first moved here. And I got the feeling like we were too late. It was like, you know, it was like the first grade, and they were like, oh yeah, well, you know, you haven't been here since daycare.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're never going to fit in now.
Yeah. Oh God, really? I struggle at those kids' parties.
Oh yeah.
Not for those reasons, but I'm on my own basically.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if I ever go there with someone like my wife or a friend, I'm like, you do not leave me alone here. Don't. You have
please
to stay, or else I'm just proper in the corner, just doing nothing. You know.
Yeah.
And I think doing like stand up, I think people think you're going to be sort of coming into a room like juggling and you know, and picking people's noses off, and you know, God, this guy's he's a pain in the ass, this guy, you know. But I'm not like that at all, you know. Actually, the whole for me, being at home has been quite nice. I've
Right.
spent a lot more time at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
you're
think
from
that
you're from San Francisco, and
I'm
Sean,
generally from the East Coast of the U.S. I typically say.
Okay.
Before coming over here, I was in Miami for 10 years, which is the longest I've ever been in one place.
yeah,
But originally, I'm from like the Northeast, so Baltimore, Philadelphia, that kind of area.
Okay.
Moved around a bit.
yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm from San Francisco, and Sean is from everywhere else.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like
Yeah.
anything east of San Francisco.
But I do like. I don't know if it's kind of a British kind of New Zealand mentality, but I find that the Americans that I know that live here, they're a bit more. You're just a bit more friendly,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I look at you two just staring at me now. Like, no, we're not. Apart from you two, but the kind of the American comedian like Brian Jordan, like they're very let's go. There's an enthusiasm. It's just I like that.
Yeah, but I think that kind of falls in line with when we talked about making friends. And that to me falls into that whole no small talk. And I don't understand how you're supposed to meet somebody. How do you initiate the contact with somebody if you don't start it off with like, oh wow, bus is late again?
Oh,
But
mate,
you're not allowed to talk to anybody.
absolute death, with talk here. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm in a shop and someone walks and they drop a tray of glasses and it goes,
Right.
I have to go, hey, or ooh, what happened there?
Right.
And they're just like, why are you talking? What are you,
Yeah.
like I've been into like shops and someone's been on the phone and I'm like,
Right.
all right, busy?
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then they walk
Yeah.
off, like
Yeah.
it's just, it's
Yeah.
an unreal place for that. And I think there's a stubbornness to their mentality. It's
Right.
just who they are,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, imagine us. Imagine me. I thought it was bad when I got to London and you're on the tube and God forbid you're not looking at the advertisements above or your own feet.
Yes.
You're causing real problems. And then you get here and it's like, it's another level, man. It's another level.
The silence here is incredible, isn't it?
It's deafening.
And if you do say stuff, you're the really weird person. For me, it kind of suits my personality to live here. If I'm absolutely honest, I stopped drinking like a few years ago, and that took out any fun of my personality. And it's something I tell my children every night.
You remind. Yeah, that thing with the store, and now I say that I'm bad in two languages because my English and my Swedish makes it I have problems speaking in both languages. But personal, the people that work in a shop, and like you said, you walk in, you're standing there, and they know that you're there, but they refuse to acknowledge the fact. There's no little wave like, oh hey, I'll be right with you. It's kind of like that, like they don't know. You don't know if they've seen you or if you need to flag something, throw something. Or
absolutely, yeah. And coming from where you guys, which is it's all customer based and all friendly,
all right.
I mean, I don't want to diss. I don't know. I don't want to diss on the place, but and other people that it is rose tinted glasses sometimes. I must admit, I have a lot of friends that kind of look at Sweden, especially as like, wow, this kind of paradise,
Right.
But it does have its problems. But out of all the places I've lived, it's up there,
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah, I mean, we continue. I tell everybody that it's the best move that we could have done. It's been fantastic to raise kids here. So the benefits, and a lot of these things are they're those cultural things. Like and we'll see what ends up happening. But I think generationally, if you've been around in the 80s and the 90s, and you know what customer service is. You know,
Yes.
we're the ones that know what it's like when you don't get good customer service. But you know, if there's a generation coming up now that's never really experienced, you know, they're just happy if they take the money and stick it in the bag. You know, it's like, oh, you know, the ribban, you know, the expectations are so low.
But do you you guys strike me as people that would complain? I would never complain, you see. Like, you know, even if, you know, I've gone vegan, even if they brought me out a bit of bacon, I'd probably just put my head down and put it in my pocket and drop it in the street, you know.
That's that British gene pool, though. That's the British gene pool.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. But that's why I think it's sort of, there is the crossover here of that awkwardness kind of, I'm not saying like Hugh Grant kind of stuff, but there is that kind of bumbling, you know, I'm a vegan and you've put, you know, I would, but my wife, my wife, Swedish, she would just, you know, she would pile in, you know.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's a male female thing. I'm not sure.
No, I definitely see that that happening, and it's strange because we do have this. I mean, we want to be friends with everybody. If you're an American, you come and you're loud, and you know, we're almost the exact opposite of Jante.
Yes,
you know, they have the Jante law. I mean, we're like the polar opposite. You know, we want people to, you know, we want to talk to people. I had to rewrite my resume like 5 times when we moved here. They're like, oh yeah, you're talking way too much about yourself. And I'm like, well, it's my resume, right? Like, you have to talk about what you accomplished as part of a group. And I'm like, but those guys weren't working. I'm the one that was working. It was my job, you know, but so those
American there. Like Neil Armstrong, it was all about him, wasn't it? It wasn't about the whole team, the NASA team. It was about him.
He built that rocket himself. Hey,
the NASA team got Apollo 13. They got their
They got their props. Now, as far as we touched bases, I always say I'm from San Francisco. My father was Hawaiian Samoan. My mother was a Swedish flight attendant. She met my father in Hawaii, but I have this whole Polynesian side, and you are, I think, probably the third person, and I'm going to say from New Zealand because that's where the bulk of your time was. But it's still fun to me how all of a sudden, you know, I'm meeting other Polynesian people here in Sweden, in Stockholm. You know, it's
I don't know if I'm Polynesian.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at you, and you know,
reveal, is it?
We got
no, I was always because at school you're taught to do the haka, the Maori war dance,
right?
In the hands, but I always felt a bit awkward. I always felt like, you know, but I'm like that at a wedding when people start dancing to the Macarena. I'm like, do we need to do this? You know, but it's weirdly, I'm very patriotic and very to the New Zealand that lifestyle. You know,
right.
Whenever we had relatives come over, we would always take them to these. I suppose they're commercial, but we wanted them to understand what the Maori thing.
Maoris, right?
But it was, and it's a weird one because I remember there was a story once where you'd have a leader of this tourist group, and you'd have to put a leaf down, and the Maori leader would pick the leaf up, and that would welcome you into this. And I remember it was a Danish or a Norwegian guy. They said to him, "You're the leader. Do not laugh. Like, you know, don't smirk. It might be weird that the guy in a skirt."
Right.
And he just starts laughing. So the guy gets the stick and just jabs him in the nose. Like,
what?
Yeah. It was proper. And the guy was like, I had to do it. This is our thing, you know. So
I told you not to laugh. And I had to hit you.
So that guy, he had a great holiday. But yeah, so it is something that I do enjoy, but I've struggled with identity as well. You know, like being born in England and grown up in New Zealand, and now in sport, I'll support Sweden against England, and my British mates are like, who are you? Three flag guy.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
you know, it's I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I wanted to write a stand-up show about finding the identity, but I also find it's a lot more easier for say a European or an American to come here, you know, rather than someone from Somalia who has to learn the language. I really struggle with that privilege, you know. I feel very lucky, and I haven't quite worked out, you know, because I feel like I'm an immigrant, you know, but like, you know, you get in a taxi sometimes and you go, sorry, I don't know the language. And they're like, it's okay. And I don't think that
He's like, neither do I.
Yeah. And it's, so it's a learning. I learn all the time, you know, and I've tried to learn a language. I've really struggled.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I was curious about is, and Sean and I had touched on this in a previous episode, but now bilingual kids, like raising, I mean, you have a bilingual family atmosphere going on. I mean, is that, how is that?
My kids, they think I'm a disgrace to the language of Sweden, basically.
Okay.
If I attempt any word that is Swedish, they're just like, you just need to, this and that.
They're like, Dad, stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, we try and have like dinner and we all speak Swedish, but you know, they'll just go, you know, it's just total frustration for them. Like, I'm like that.
There he goes again.
Yeah. It's like, you know, we're in a group and we're trying to get a project done, and I'm just the absolute idiot. And every time I speak, they just bang their.
Yeah, we know, Dad. Fifan, we know.
Yeah.
We know. Right.
That's all. You know, that's all.
Yeah.
And of course, they're walking around saying Fifan because, you know, that's what I've said on stage, so it's fine. You know,
So,
you know,
it's the free card.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, I think swearing here is a completely different. I you know, like I've done podcasts and radio shows, and they're swearing, and I'm like, you can't say that, can you? Like the Melody
It's not their
Festival,
language.
you know, like, what's going on? You know?
Yeah.
So the language is tough, but then, you know, there's also people that go, there's a small country, you know, why it's great that they learn English, you know?
Yeah.
And I say that's all I can give them.
Yeah. Right. Now and it's funny because the expectations on them is also, well, you know, your dad's English, or your dad is fluent in English, so you got to be great. You got to be great in, you know, in English class.
Yeah.
My kids survived English class, but it wasn't, you know, as if they were, you know, like laureates or anything. I mean, but their kids, you know, their fellow friends were saying, oh, you know, Dad's American, of course he's good at English.
Yeah.
So that was, you know, kind of and people had asked us when we moved here, so you're going to send your kids to English school?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, no, we didn't just fly halfway around the world to stick my kids in an English school.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
my son thinks he's some kind of English speaking king when he walks around like, I do not need this. I do not need this. He needs a bit of more humility, I think. You know?
I love it. Yeah, I think he's making up his own language at this point. He's going to be trilingual.
Oh,
so he's got all the Swedish and the Forscola, and then my wife's Brazilian, so Portuguese there, and then the American English. So he's saying a whole bunch of stuff, and no one understands what he's saying.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean,
I'd love to be in that world.
Yeah. A new what was it back in the 80s? Esperanto. He's making up his own new version of that.
But you do see those people who are just screaming at themselves in the street, and you always think, well, they look happy enough. You know, no one can understand what they're saying.
Right.
You know, But yeah, they look, satisfied.
Yeah. Al, when did you have you always worked with comedy, or was comedy something that you?
I started doing stand-up in London when I went back one time. Didn't work out. Sort of my family in England got together with me and said, it's best if you go back. So I went back, and then I never, like, weirdly now looking at this Sunday afternoon, talking to two Americans in in Sweden, it's
Right.
all the way it all falls in. So I just sort of fell into doing comedy, really, just started in England, did well in England. I was doing like all the big clubs, did all the big festivals, but came here with there was no plan, like, I'll do a few tours. It was like, what I basically was going to try and do was be here for 10 days and then go to England for 10 days and do gigs all the whole week, sleep on couches. I'm like 48 now. I don't know how long that, it was probably like budget airline stuff, I don't know if I would have survived that, to be honest. And luckily the gigs started happening here, so I could drop the English part, Yeah. But yeah, I miss being on stage, not in an egotistical way. I just miss writing an idea or thinking of an idea and going on stage and doing it. That's
sure.
And if I don't have comedy now, like I'm unemployable. Absolutely. I've been trying to help my wife in the garden today.
Yeah.
She's just, she would have laid me off, basically. Like, she would have just had a word with me about, if it was a proper job at like 11 o'clock this morning, she would have gone, we haven't got much work on here, so we're gonna let it go.
Yeah, arbetsförmedlingen, a-kassa. We just here, I'll help you with the paperwork.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, I'm excited when it all comes back, and I've never taken it for granted, but it's just bizarrely the best job in the world, and like we all have had, we've had loads of time to think about what we're doing, and we've had time on our own, haven't we? Where we're just sitting here,
reflection and
yeah. So I can't wait to do shows again.
Well, and I think that people are going to need you. I mean, I think that after this long, year that we've had and everything else, I mean, people need to laugh. People need to, to find back to that. My son keeps on asking me when they're going to release Top Gun. He's been asking me that for like for a year and a half. When's Top Gun coming? When's Top Gun coming? I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. But I think especially working with what you do, we need that. We need, people need to laugh more and to get that back. And I think that the energy too that you're missing, not being up and there. I mean, that energy that a crowd brings, that enthusiasm, that that charge and interaction, it's like going through withdrawal. All of a sudden, it's just whoop.
Yeah, and I think people, I think that's the American spirit we have applauded during this podcast, but that we're going to need it. I think a British friend would probably say it's going to be shit. They're going to be. After 1 minute, they're just going to be staring at you.
Yeah.
But now I need to write a show that is as good as Top Gun. I think you've really thrown that down to me for your son. I need to be bigger than Cruise. But yeah, I think like the audiences here are magnificent as well. They're you know, I obviously do it all in English, but you can just hear them sometimes like lean in and try and listen, and they don't want to miss out. And you know, someone once said that they're just, you know, they don't want to be the ones that miss out on the joke, you know, so that's why they're quiet. But so I can't wait. I don't know when it will be. We were lucky last year. I ended up doing like 50-seat shows, you know, two of those a night, and that was fantastic. And to be fair to my family, they really need me to get the hell out of the house. You know?
I hear that.
Yeah. You know, I just sort of walk around. I open the door, and they're like, "Oh, it's that dick again." You know,
it's that guy again. Yeah. Does he have to eat dinner? Does he have to eat dinner here every night? Every night?
Then there goes your son. I don't need this.
Yeah.
Al, now you've done shows around Sweden. Do you have like a favorite venue? Is there a venue that you like?
Not a place that I've done before, but weirdly I saw a venue, Dalhalla. You know, you've seen that one? It's like an outdoor, and I saw a Netflix special, Brian Regan, and he was at Red Rocks in Denver, I think it is. Colorado. Yeah. And it just looked
crazy.
Oh God, it looked amazing. And then it was only a couple of days ago. I was like, wow, wouldn't that be great to do it? To do it at Valhalla, you know? But yeah, I mean, up and down the country, there are really fun places. I love working a show up, you know?
Yeah.
I actually love the process, you know? So now it's really changed the process, because now it's like, I go to like open mic clubs. I try 5-10 minutes. I sometimes die on my ass because I forget to tell the story. So I'm just rushing through, and I've got to get to the punchline. I say it's all over the place. And then I take it to comedy clubs, and then I do my own work in progress hours. Yeah. And then you take it out on tour, and then you have to rewrite it again for a stand-up special. You know, so I think that's only recently happened in the world of comedy, that you have to, you know, like go and watch a comic for 2 hours, but you know, the stand-up special can only be an hour, really.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah, I just feel very lucky that I think I'll be okay. I'm still doing digital gigs, and which are, you know, some of them which are weird. like some of them. I did one where the host of the thing, they put the camera went up, but they put like a PDF of thanks for today, go well, bye bye. So that was all I could see. So I was doing the whole show to the thing that was saying thank you, goodbye, and I couldn't break it, and I couldn't say, are you guys still here? You know, it was that.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me right now? Is there an echo? Who's got the echo?
Yeah. It was so that part of it's been actually okay, you know, and you know, a lot of their Christmas parties in Sweden were digital, you know, which is the normal, I suppose, but it feels weird to me that people are in their houses drinking and they're watching me do a show, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we get to summer and we can start doing some outdoor shows again, and you know,
what's stop number one for you when everything opens up?
I think it will be to just do like 50-seat gigs, and I think that's what will happen next. I think they'll open up, but I'm supposed to be I had an arena tour booked, like hockey arenas, and it was like, as a comic, I was always sort of against arenas tour, shows. I was like, I'd love to see them in a smaller theater. But when that moment comes up for you as a comedian, you just go, of course, I want to try it, and there's a little part in the back of your head going, maybe I could be really good at doing these big, So I was really excited about that, and I still am. I still can't wait. But for me now, it's just. I think all the rules are different. All the, if all bets are off, I'll just do it wherever and however.
Like 50 people, 40 people, 30. Hey, give me 5 people. Just put 5 people. Yeah.
I'll do 30 people for 200 nights in a row. In a hockey arena.
Yeah, we'll get those numbers up. We'll get those numbers up.
So I mean, and all I am is like, I don't know if I'm talking about myself too much here, but like, I'm just 100% stand up. I'm just I go. That's all I try and do is be funny, and what I've learned is you're always gonna have people that critique what you do. There's always people that are gonna go, I just find funny stuff about Sweden, and I think over this year off, I've just gone, all right, that's what I do, and I'm gonna try and do it my best I can. I
love it.
Some guy wrote on Twitter, he said, Al Pitcher is the worst comedian in the world. And I really wanted to write back and go, I'm not the worst, he's second or third, but like, come on, I can't be,
The absolute right.
But I just try not to engage,
Yeah, for sure.
I think I was listed. Someone wrote something about me being, what a shit year, something. Al Pitch had done this, and Corona. I think Corona was second behind me.
Oh no!
I'm like, bloody hell! I'm behind a pandemic.
Yes.
Oh Jesus!
So, and I think you're absolutely right when you said when it all opens up and they're ready, it's going to be fantastic.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there is so much pent up, and with anxiety and everything else happening. I mean, I think we're all, we're all ready for a reboot.
Yeah.
Ready for a party where we don't talk to anyone.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think people are going to go, physical, and they're going to, we didn't used to do this, like, get away from me,
The realization is going to hit them. No, wait, we didn't, did we?
Yeah.
No, high five? No, we don't. No, we don't do that either.
Exactly. Yeah. But
Al, it has been a true pleasure to have you with us, and I hope that you will stay in touch. We are going to go ahead and put up some information where people can go in and learn more about you, as well as some of your upcoming things. Thank you so much. We sure look forward to seeing you.
Well, do you know what, man? It's been it feels very short, which is cool. But which is it's let's do this again. Let's when it all kicks open, and
and I promise to stop putting.
I sounded really desperate then, didn't I? I was like, just every Sunday, please, let's talk.
Please.
I'm okay with it.
Hey, man, I'm on board.
I just, and when you said your wife was an au pair, all I could think about was my comedy head was like, and he was the child, and then she brought him over here. He was looking after you, but I didn't say that, so now I'll get out of that. So
okay. Good. Al, take care of yourself. We remain in touch, and we will hopefully. Oh yeah,
sporting official merchandise.
Yeah, we're looking
one
good.
Of those,
we're looking good.
It's proper Florida golfer.
Exactly.
Exactly. There you go.
So there we go.
But Al, we will we'll definitely try and get something going.
Absolutely. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us.
that is it for this week's episode, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in, as always, and a very, very, very special thank you to Mr. Al Pitcher for stopping by the pod. You can actually check out 2 of his specials on Netflix right now, and be sure to go to alpitcher.com to see any upcoming dates and ticketing information. We'll put that link in the episode description, and then come back here next time for more 2 Guys, 3 Crowns.